Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions. Okay, I won't sing it again. I did that last time, didn't I? There's a new Digimon game! Guys! Guys, look! Look, it's Digimon! It's new! Digimon Story, Time Stranger. And it is indeed a proper successor to Cyber Sleuth. Thank you. Finally. This is what most of us have been begging for. Because objectively speaking, Cyber Sleuth was, by and large, the best Digimon game ever made. There were some other decent ones, but Cyber Sleuth was pretty awesome, as was Hacker's Memory. But we hadn't gotten another one since that time. I mean, we got some other Digimon games, but some of them were, we wanted more of that, because it was good. And they finally gave it to us. Time Stranger. And I am happy to report that it's really good. But is it better than Cyber Sleuth? Good question. Well, to begin with, art direction and visuals are basically the same as Cyber Sleuth, honestly. I mean, it's crisper and higher resolution in many places because it's a newer game, but it's still the same anime art style, so you're not going to notice a drastic difference in that way because Cyber Sleuth already looked good, and this game looks good, so sound design is top tier. One of the elements of Cyber Sleuth that I thought was a little lackluster was the lack of variety when it came to music. To be clear, the soundtrack in Cyber Sleuth is good, but they tend to reuse a lot of songs. Time Stranger not only has a great soundtrack, but is a lot more varied, so I think that's a big improvement. And the story has, well, nothing to do with Cyber Sleuth, actually. It is a Digimon story, but it's its own isolated tale and arguably in a completely different universe. But one that also has Digimon, which happens a lot with Digimon, frankly. I mean, continuity is often something that isn't clear because they just mess around and do what they need to do and everything. I believe it's heavily implied you're in a different universe. In this case, the land you're dealing with within the digital world is known as Iliad. And you play as a character you name, who doesn't really talk, hardly at all, because, yeah, you could be a boy or a girl, and they work for a secret organization. You're a spy, investigator, agent, and your job is to seek out and find anomalies that defy rational explanation and bring them under containment or control. And you may be saying, wait. Are you working for the SCP Foundation? And yeah, actually, kinda. It's very, very similar in concept in that way. And that's kind of cool because I love the SCP mythos. And it works really well with Digimon because as you play the game, you learn more about the digital world and the nature of Digimon and realize that a lot of the anomalies actually are just Digimon that aren't completely understood by the human world. As the plot goes on, though, I will tell you things shift a lot. I won't tell you it because that would ruin everything, but it's called Time Stranger, so I think you can guess that time travel is involved, and yes, it is. And things get wild around here, and I'll tell you no more. But it is worth it. The plot was really, really good. From a game mechanics perspective, well, the game is very similar to Cyber Sleuth, but much more refined. You still have a party of 3, however, you also have support party members. These are AI-controlled characters that come and go as the plot dictates and help you in specific battles. It's a neat feature. Sometimes they contribute well, sometimes they don't do much. It depends. But the AI is pretty good about making logical decisions in terms of what moves to use in a given situation. So hey, that's always nice. You can speed up or slow down battle on the fly, which is a nice touch. And there is an auto battle function, which I don't really use, but I guess if you're just grinding, it is a nice option to have. Granted, I don't think you'll be grinding very much, because Time Stranger has improved drastically the level up process for Digimon in terms of getting Digivolutions. Actually, frankly, despite levels still being a thing and a booster to stats, technically speaking, levels have nothing to do with whether or not you can Digivolve. It's all based on the stats. Now, granted, being at a higher level will naturally raise stats, so that's likely to be somewhat involved, but theoretically, there are situations where you can Digivolve while you're still at level 1. Also, I should mention, remember the one thing I genuinely hated about Cyber Sleuth was the Abby stat? The one you could only raise by Digivolving your Digimon, therefore requiring you to go back and forth between different forms in order to raise that stat arbitrarily, and it was a waste of time and artificial padding to make it so you couldn't get stronger Digimon earlier in the game. Well, Abby is no longer a thing. It doesn't exist. And thank you. Thank you for that. I hated it so much, and you got rid of it! Fantastic. Instead, Digivolving is based purely on stats that are relevant during battle, things that actually affect how the Digimon performs. There are some other restrictions on this, though. For one thing, generally the stats you need are a bit more harder to reach. They've been switched around in terms of Digivolution, so again, you can't get super strong Digimon too quickly, but it's no longer as tedious as it once was. Additionally, there's emotions to consider. Yes. See, one of the systems implemented in Time Stranger is a personality system, where Digimon can have varying degrees of personality traits. These can be altered in a variety of ways, from simply talking to your Digimon, which is kind of cool, or utilizing the Digifarm, which has also been significantly improved compared to Cyber Sleuth, and allows you to more effectively train your Digimon and focus on specific stats and rush it by expending money if you want. This is a good way to isolate certain stats and raise the ones that you need in order to get a certain Digivolution, but it also changes their personality depending on what kind of training you're doing. This is clearly defined in the menus. There's plenty of tools available so you know exactly what effect every single training session is going to have. This is a very, very, very good feature that does two things. It does serve to put up barriers in order to prevent you from getting certain Digimon too quickly and being completely overpowered if you're playing normal mode. But it no longer feels tedious and irritating like Abby did. This type of mechanic is genuinely interesting to mess around with. Digimon get certain boosts to certain stats depending on what personality type they have, different personality abilities, and because it's so clearly defined, it's not super difficult to, well, focus on getting a certain personality type in order to get a certain Digivolution. Basically, all the DNA Digivolutions require both parties to have a specific personality type in order to meet the requirements to Digivolve into that form. So this is something you're probably going to have to do if you want those kind of Digimon. Do you need them? No, not if you're on normal mode, but as you might imagine, a lot of the DNA Digivolutions are some of the strongest Digimon in the game, so if you want to get to the harder difficulties, it might be something you want to do. Because, oh, just to be clear, there are two very hard difficulty modes. There's Mega and Mega Plus. These modes are friggin' impossible. Okay, not impossible, but they're not playing. I just want to be clear about that. Do not go in and expect, alright, it's okay, I got New Game Plus now, I got Megas, I'll be fine. No, you will not. The rookie Digimon will actually beat the tar out of you in those modes, even with Megas. So, yeah, you actually have to get pretty strategic. So if you're looking for a challenge, it's here too. As you can tell by my overwhelming positivity, I quite like this game, and yes, it's great, fantastic. It's exactly what we've been asking for. A proper successor to Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory that does what those games did, but improved, and that's exactly what they did. From a game mechanics perspective, Time Stranger is better than Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory because they refined everything in a clear way that makes a lot of sense and is a lot of fun. But is the game outright better than those two? I think that's going to depend on you, purely because, in my opinion, the story of Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory was better than what Time Stranger is offering. Now, Time Stranger does have a really good story. It was good, but I didn't like it as much as the previous ones. That's where I'm at with it. I'm not saying it's bad at all. I'm saying that, in my opinion, it's weaker than Cyber Sleuth in that regard. Additionally, I felt it was a lot shorter, and if there's one truly negative thing about Time Story when compared to Cyber Sleuth, it's the side missions. One of the things Cyber Sleuth was really good about was offering a lot of missions that are offshoots of the main story. Some of them had nothing to do with it, but a lot of them were a lot of fun, had their own lore to explore, as well as sequel side stories if you completed the ones prior to. You could get pretty involved in the side content in Cyber Sleuth, and it was great. Time Stranger does have side missions, that's true, but I find them mostly pretty lackluster. They're just kind of there. They don't have a lot of thought put into them. Some of them are kind of funny and a little bit interesting, but for the most part, they're just not nearly as good as what Cyber Sleuth offered in that regard. The main story is definitely the focus in Time Stranger, and that's where the game really shines. And I still recommend you do the side quests because the rewards are pretty great and give you much needed boosts and items, but from a plot perspective, the side missions left a lot to be desired. It was kind of disappointing, but the only element that I found disappointing, the only other issue I have with Time Stranger involves Bandai Namco themselves, because what the... what is this? First of all, I find the notion of offering a season pass for a single-player RPG just a little absurd. That's it. Alright, I guess if you plan some decent DLC, maybe it's worth it. But so far, you're not impressing me with the DLC offerings. The one I find the most hurtful is the fact that you want $4. That's it, $4 for 2 Digimon. And I know why you did this, is because you know everyone loves Black War Greymon, and Black Akumon's right there. I know what you're doing, but $4 for those two, really? Really, you couldn't just put them in the game? Because they were standard in the game with Cyber Sleuth. You didn't do that then, but now it's, $4. $4 extra on a full-priced role-playing game. And that's not even the only DLC that's being offered. Most of the other stuff is cosmetic, though, and I don't recommend it on the basis that most of the costumes aren't even that cool or interesting, and they're overpriced. It's pretty gross. And you might be saying, it's just $4 for those 2 Digimon Darkness. Is that really a big deal? Yes, it's a big deal! Why should I have to give you an extra $4 for 2 Digimon? That should just be in the game. I mean, this is stupid. You know it's stupid, I know it's stupid, and I got a big thing about full-price games coming along with microtransactions. That drives me nuts. Listen to me, and I want to be clear about this. I'm the kind of person that doesn't generally get too upset about microtransactions, but I got one big rule. If you're gonna have microtransactions, the game better be free to play. Because a free to play game, well, microtransactions is how they make their money. And fair enough, because it is free to play. You turn on the game and you don't have to pay a cent. And yes, there's probably a bunch of microtransactions, and if it's a gacha game, a roulette to get a certain character and stuff like it, I get it. I know how this works. But the point is, it is free to play. But you're charging full price, $70 for Time Stranger, and you have the gall, the nerve, to add microtransactions on top of it? A $4 price tag for 2 Digimon that should just be in the game by default? No! No, I'm gonna call this like I see it. This is ridiculous. Absurd. Charging for extra DLC later down the line is one thing. For additional story bits, a whole new plot line to explore, something like that. Like, games have done stuff like that, and in those situations I generally understand. But not $4 for 2 additional Digimon. You shut up. Like, get out of here. Outrageous. Otherwise, though, Time Stranger is really good. It's a great game. It genuinely is. So I highly recommend it if you're a fan of Digimon, especially if you love Cyber Sleuth as much as I did. It is an enjoyable experience. I'm not giving you the $4, though. You'll never get it. I already paid for the game. You'll never take any more of my money, you hear me? Never! Till next time, this is Darkness, and I bid you all a fun farewell.